Hi, my name is Daria Mogdoiu, and I work in the field of responsible gaming with Kindred Group. Kindred Group is one of the largest online gambling operators, and we are always trying to provide our customers with a great online gambling experience, and doing this in a safe, secure, and supportive environment. And obviously, given the fact that we are a gambling operator, we do understand all the risks that gambling can entail, and therefore we have a very strong commitment when it comes to responsible gaming and to harm minimization. And we make a very strong pledge that we want to reach 0% revenue derived from harmful gambling by 2023. And how we are planning to do this? Well, our responsible gambling approach is focused on three main areas, which is the academic focus, the community focus, and the customer focus. When it comes to the academic focus, it is very important to know that our responsible gambling approach, it is based on empirical information, and we are always relying on research to make sure that we are continuously improving it. And therefore, we are working very closely with industry-leading researchers, and we also have our own in-house academic, Maris Catania. She is also the head of responsible gambling and research at Kindred. And we are very in favor of transparency in the industry, and that is why we are publishing all the research papers that we are doing. When it comes to the community focus, one of our biggest commitment is the yearly Sustainable Gambling Conference that Kindred organizes, and which brings together various stakeholders from operators to regulators to different treatment centers to reformed gamblers. And we all share knowledge and experiences together just to make sure that we make the industry a more safer and a more sustainable place for our customers and for ourselves as companies. And our commitment for the community is also strengthened by all the collaborations that we have with different treatment centers and with different third-party gambling blocking software such as Gamban, which we offer for free for our customers in case they need to stop gambling or they want to stop gambling. And when it comes to the customer focus, we are very strong believers in an early detection of potential problematic gambling behavior and in an early intervention and de-risking. And we are doing this with the help of our team of experts, but also we rely a lot on our award-winning player safety early detection system, PSCDS in short. And for you to get a better understanding of the data points and of the thinking that went into the new improved version of our PSCDS, I'm going to hand over to my colleague Alexandra, and she's going to explain it better to you.
Thank you, Daria. Hi, everybody. My name is Alexandra Wilczynska, and I work as a senior data analyst at Kindred. Today, I'll be talking about our player safety early detection system and how we've upgraded it recently. As Daria mentioned, we had a very good detection system in place for a while now. But recently, we've decided that we want to move forward and change the focus from financial measures only to more of a holistic approach, and from a rule-based solution to a more multivariate model. And this is exactly what we did, and I'll explain that in detail in a second. But we are not stopping there. We still aim for more, and with sufficient data in place, we will move to even more upgraded model with introduction of AI supervised learning, which I will also explain in a bit. So the challenge we faced was that we wanted to move away from looking only at the financial metrics, because the behavioral risk matters too. And not only those with financial losses are at risk. Furthermore, different people can afford different levels of play. Right now, I'll give you a few examples, completely hypothetical examples of different players. behaving in a different way, and you can see for yourself that they potentially are at risk. Here is Sarah. Sarah logged into our website and she played dice games for 12 hours straight. She ended up winning £10. Steve keeps on logging in to our mobile app and changing deposit limit. He's done that several times this month already. George, he likes football and he likes playing quite risky. Recently, he's won. So these are all examples that wouldn't be detected if we looked only at financial metrics. Another challenge is that we wanted a single metric for a multidimensional issue, and we needed a scale solution rather than 0-1 metric. Another thing is that we need to monitor all the users all the time because their risk fluctuates. Sometimes it's higher and sometimes it's lower. The aspects that we have to consider is that there is a multitude of active users playing on our websites. We have multiple products. There are different platforms, and we work with a number of providers. There are also promotions, marketing promotions in place that might alter the behavior of the users. And the event calendar is also an aspect to consider. Events such as Eurocup may change the behavior of the players. They may place more bets on higher stakes, and it doesn't necessarily mean that it's problematic. We also operate in many countries in different time zones. So here's the Kindred solution. The input to our model is threefold. First of all, we use the expert knowledge of our responsible gaming team. Obviously, we use data science, in particular some manual modeling, but also unsupervised machine learning in the model as it is now. But also we apply academic research, specifically in the subjects of addictions or gambling addictions in specific. But also we applied some behavioral economics models. So here's an example of how this interplay of experts, data, and academic research works. DSM-5 is a diagnostic and statistical manual of mental disorders, and it gives quite precise guidelines of what are the symptoms of problematic gambling, which are the following: the preoccupation, tolerance, withdrawal, loss of control, escapism, chasing, risking significant relationships, or bailout. What we've done is to translate it into the model using our data, and to operationalize these symptoms, we use the following dimensions: risk taken, time spent on gambling, betting activity, payment history, logins, human interactions, RG tools, and on-site behavior. Another example of how we introduce the academic research to the model is the assessment of betting risk. So a while ago, we had an idea that it would be good to assess risk appetite of players to identify those with unusually high risk propensity. And the standard solution for this dilemma would be to go to expected utility theory, which says that under uncertainty, individuals will choose the options bringing the highest expected utility given their risk attitude, either risk averse or risk seeking, or risk indifferent for that matter. But the problem is that this theory has an underlying assumption that individuals act rationally under uncertainty, which is not at all the case, especially if someone plays for entertainment. So instead, we turned to behavioral economics. Specifically, we applied cumulative prospect theory, which says that individuals are subject to cognitive biases like loss aversion, we really don't like to lose, probability weighting, which basically says that people overestimate very small probabilities, such as winning a lottery, and underestimate quite high probabilities. Or a framing effect, which basically says that we are expecting something that we are familiar with. And the result is that we have a very good indicator of risk appetite of a player for every bet, that is using variables such as stake, potential payout, probability of winning, or estimated disposable income. So these were the inputs to our PS-EDS model. And what we got in turn was a very good risk estimation, a risk indicator, which highlight players at risk for various reasons. Remember Sarah, Steve, and George? Now we can estimate their behavioral risk on a scale from no risk to high, given their behavior. The PS-EDS model also enables interaction with responsible gaming team through a dashboard interface. And how it works is that the responsible gaming team actions the player, adjusts the level of risk, and provides feedback back to us. So the feedback is a bit more bespoke than what I'm presenting now, but this is the idea. We calculate risk and provide it to the RG teams. So, for example, Sarah would have calculate risk at the level low, but our RG team decided that no, she would actually have the medium risk. So they feed us back with this information, and the final risk is applied by the RG team. And here we come to the last point, which is, I guess, the most exciting, which is the future. With the sufficient feedback from the RG team, we will move to the reinforcement model. So the first part will work as it works now. So we will calculate the risk with the unsupervised learning model. RG team will provide the feedback saying whether the calculated risk is correct or not. And the PS-EDS model would learn from this feedback, and with a new input, new data coming in, the reinforced response will be corrected by the feedback of RG team. So this is coming in the very near future. but let me hand it back to Daria now to explain you how does it work from the RG side.
Thank you, Alexandra. And for you to have a better understanding of how we actually apply the new PSDS model to our customer database, we prepared a case study for you. And this is one of our Swedish male customers. He's a 34 years old male, and he's been active with us for 4 years now. And what we noticed at the moment of detection in November 2020 is that although his losses were on the low side, we noticed that the deposits of the customer increased quite a lot and his turnover spiked. And we know from research that, that these are early signs of chasing winnings. So we had to be careful with that. And we also noticed the fact that the customer was mainly playing sportsbook. And as Alexandra explained, PSEDS can assess the risk appetite of the customer based on the betting pattern of the customer. We also noticed that the customer was only playing on one of our brands, on Unibet, and he was using different payment methods. We also noticed the fact that the customer had a history of RG tool usage, of responsible gambling tool usage, which means that it can be a sign of loss of control. And we noticed that the customer, before being detected, he took a long break from gambling. Then we also noticed the fact that the customer was spending quite a lot of time being active on our website, and not just playing, but also just being logged in and browsing the website. And he didn't have a regular pattern of playing. So he was playing both during the day and during the night, which you can also notice in the graph below. In the moment of his detection, his login hours spiked quite a lot. And despite of the low financial losses that the customer was having at the moment, we still decided that we will go forward with the personalized communication. So we sent him a message informing him about the detection. We also informed him that, that we would like to hear back from him, and we advised him to self-reflect on his own gambling activity, and we promoted with him the available responsible gambling tools that we offer. Unfortunately, after the first intervention, after a few days, the customer was redetected on PSEDS, and he was detected again on a higher risk level. He continued to play during the night, and at this point, he also started doing quite a bit of visits on the responsible gambling page without setting up any limits. So this again can be a sign of loss of control. And he did continue to play during the night. And at this point in time, given the fact that the risk of the customer was more elevated, and given the fact that the customer was redetected again in such a short period of time, we decided to block the customer's deposits, and we gave him a call. And during the call, the customer actually thanked us that we took the time to reach out to him and to make sure that he's fine. And he did explain to us that he feels in control of his gambling, and that he never gambled with money he couldn't afford to lose. He also explained to us the fact that, that his spike in deposits was due to the fact that he was withdrawing so much from his account, which makes sense, and it's true, as we noticed from the previous slide, from his financial activity. And together with the customer, after having a nice discussion with him, we decided to set up a capped deposit limit for his account, which was set up at 20% of his income. And the outcome of this detection and interaction, as you can see from the first graph, the customer is still active with us. And since December 2020, he was never redetected again on PSEDS, not even on low risk levels. And from the second graph, you can notice that the deposit limit helped him keep his gambling on a sustainable level, and that the customer is currently winning. So what you see in the second graph, the green parts are the customer's deposits, and the red parts are the customer's withdrawals. And now he's currently winning 300 something GBP. And this is just one of the examples that goes to show that an early detection and an efficient intervention and the risking process, it is a good business model for a good relationship and a sustainable relationship with our customers. So thank you very much for your time, and I hope you enjoyed our presentation. Have a nice day.